Should you learn SQL in 2016, 2017? SQL is short for Structured Query Language, and it is the language of relational databases. Now, a relational database is a type of database. There are several types of databases out there. There are flat file databases, which are just text files. There are object-based databases, objects as in object-oriented programming. Then there are relational-based databases. Relational-based databases are the most popular by far and away. There are other types of databases as well, but relational-based databases are the most popular. Some people just simply call them the SQL databases. Why? Because the structured query language, SQL, is the language of relational databases. There are many relational database apps out there. MySQL, probably the most popular. There's PostgreSQL, there's Microsoft SQL Server, Oracle, big one, and there's several others as well. For whatever reasons, SQL-based databases are by far and away the most popular. And if you are going to be doing web app creation and mostly web app creation, you'll find yourself using relational databases all the time. All the languages by default pretty much support relational databases, whether it be PHP, ASP.NET C#, Ruby on Rails, or Django, Python, you name it. If you're going to be doing database work, a lot of the times, I would say with the web, maybe 95% of the time, you're going to be doing it with a relational database. Big blogging engines like WordPress, Drupal, Joomla, they're all based on relational databases. Now, these three apps are written in PHP. And when we're talking about PHP, PHP is the most popular server-side web app development programming language in the world. Very powerful, very fast, very easy to learn compared to other languages. I'm not saying it's the best language overall. You can watch my videos where I talk about all this, but in terms of web, it's the king. And Drupal, Joomla, WordPress, these three incredibly popular content management systems that a lot of small and medium-sized businesses, even big businesses use, they're written in PHP. What this all means is that since so many businesses run WordPress, Joomla, and Drupal, that means that PHP is here to stay. And it also means that SQL-based databases are going to be here to stay for a long time. Well, trust me, you don't need Drupal, Joomla, and WordPress to keep SQL-based databases up and running. Let me give you a quick rundown. An SQL-based database, otherwise known as a relational database, is an app that stores all your data in the form of tables. So a table, you can think of it as like a spreadsheet, like Excel spreadsheet or Google Docs spreadsheet. And you have you got columns, you got rows. And what a relational database does, it stores its data in a bunch of tables. And you might have a table of all your client information, another table of all your product information, another table with all your sales information. So let's say you have an e-commerce shop and you're selling bananas, apples, and kitty cats. And you have clients who come in, they make purchases, so you got to keep a record of all your client information, their name, their first name, last name, shipping address, credit card, and credit cards, and what orders they've placed. So you'd have a table for all your clients, and then you'd have another table with listing all your products, and then you would have yet another table listing all the sales you made. Now, it's called a relational database because the way these databases are structured, besides being in tables that look like Excel spreadsheets, these databases create relationships between one table's information and another table's information. So a very simple example, if you have clients, you have a table with all the client information, you have another table with the orders that have been placed on your store. So you would create a relationship, a connection between the order that your clients created that you have listed in your client table. So you have your client table of all your clients. So you got Steph who came to your store to buy a dozen bananas. So you have Steph's, all of Steph's information in the client table, and then you have another table where you got all your order information in there. So you're going to have in there all the things that I bought in that table. And you probably have another table too, but that's another story. But anyway, so you have your orders table, but you're not going to keep all the information about your client in the orders table. And there's all these reasons for that, these technical reasons. I won't get into now because I'm not here to teach you SQL, just to give you the basic overview. So you would create a relationship between the order record, my order for the bananas I bought from you. You would create a relationship between the order, my order in the orders table with my record, my information in the client table. You create these relationships and it goes on from there. So understanding SQL or relational database theory, how to structure your databases and so on, how to manage your information is something very important that you have to learn. So regardless of the language. So if you're getting into web app development and many other types of apps as well, by the way, a lot of cell phone apps, smartphone apps will be backed by relational databases as well, and so on and so forth. So if you're getting into app development, chances are you're going to have to learn database, not only the SQL language, but you also, which is the language, is a coding language, by the way, that's used to communicate with these databases. But you're also going to have to learn how these databases work, how to basically construct these databases so that they're structured properly, so that the information can be managed properly. But anyway, that's a whole other story. I talked about this briefly, or more than briefly, in another video. So there you go. Should you learn SQL in 2016 and 17? Chances are highly likely, given what I just told you. You don't have to be a database administrator. They call these people DBAs. You don't need to become a DBA, but you really need to know at least the basics. And you should know how to design a database, and you should know the basic commands in the SQL language to be able to interact with the databases. With a database, these basic commands are often referred to as CRUD operations: create, read, create a record, read a record, update a record, delete a record. That's CRUD, C-R-U-D. Anyway, I hope that helps. Yes, SQL, you gotta learn it. So whether you're doing PHP, Python, Ruby, Java, doesn't matter, C#. If you're gonna be doing many types of apps, especially web apps, chances are you're gonna have to learn relational databases. Bye-bye.